why is this so difficult for me? Why is filming the video so difficult? Anyway, take 5 or whatever. Hi, it's me. And let's talk poetry today. So in my goals video, in at least one of the attempts at filming that video, I mentioned that I wasn't publishing any books this year unless I got my poetry book together. But I cut out the part about my poetry book in case I changed my mind and I didn't want to put any pressure on myself to actually do it. But, you know, I read over all the poems that I have and I counted them and I was like, well, I kind of have the number of poems that I wanted to have. And so now I'm all out of excuses, or at least out of good excuses. So I decided no more changing my mind. And so I'm putting out my poetry book this year, August 13th, 2019. So let's talk about it. So, bet you didn't know that I wrote poetry, and yeah, and I don't normally, you know, talk about it or like show people or like anything other than reading it myself and laughing hysterically because I just think everything I do is funny for some reason. So basically about 2.5 years ago, and I remember the exact day, it was September 10th, 2016. It was a Friday, and you know, all great ideas happen when you're in the bathroom, in the shower, or peeing or whatever. And I had this, what I thought was a great idea at the time, to put out a book of poetry, because I thought, you know, it would be a great way to like learn like the publishing ropes and see if I like it and dip my foot in with a project that was like not super intimidating or something. But I didn't have the number of poems I wanted. I wanted to have around 100, and then that way I could cut some and I would still have enough poems. But if you have like, you know, 25 and you cut some, then you basically have a pamphlet. And I'm not putting out a pamphlet, okay? So, so while the idea happened kind of suddenly, it did not happen kind of suddenly recently. It happened kind of suddenly, like I said, about 2.5 years ago. And so then the poetry book, as I was doing research for the poetry book, I started thinking about my most recently finished novel, which at the time was No Rest for the Wicked, and I was like, I actually really like it. And the next thing I know, I was working with an editor and a cover designer and putting that out in the world. And so the poetry just kind of took a back seat, and it was just kind of like this kind of, you know, like low pressure project that I was like, oh, I'll work on it, you know, like when I have like a lull in my writing or whatever, to give me something creative to do and productive, and then I can work on that and finally get that out. Well, that time is now, and I have no idea why I'm deciding to put it out, because it's just, you know, I'm not the sanest person in the world, and it's kind of like, you know, just kind of exposing all the crazy, but it's also fun. Which brings me to like the theme of kind of like the collection, and so it's like a darker collection of poetry. So there's gonna be like some fairy tale stuff, of course, some mythology, some fantasy, and a lot of what I'm just calling the psycho rants. So anyway, I don't currently have a title because I'm still kind of juggling. I haven't narrowed down to 2 from like I don't know how many. So I'm still juggling those 2 because I don't know. I like them both and I just can't make a decision. But the plan is to have somewhere between 75 and like 110 poems in the collection. It just depends on if all the ones I currently have in my document actually stay. And so my goal is to get rid of the ones that aren't really like flowing right or don't really like fit in the overall theme, I guess, and my overall aesthetic or whatever. But I want to call it like darker themed poetry with like a side of ridiculous and fun. And that fits, you know, kind of my novels and me and just everything. So yeah, so I just wanted to talk about it and just put it out there so I can't change my mind again. But yeah, so I'm excited, and I will talk about the title later, maybe when I have a cover reveal, and maybe I'll do the cover reveal here, and that'll be fun. So that's all for this video, and I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you have a great week.